Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I have a massive haul for you guys. I'm talking over 60 books, or I think right at 60 books. Yeah, I have done some damage over the past few months. I've been thrifting books, going to half price books, on Pango books, all the little thrifty hidey hole places I can find, because my new mission in life is seeking out first edition, first printings of some vintage books that I loved in my childhood. And along the way, I stumbled into quite a few other things as well. So I have a big, huge book haul today for your Friday or Tuesday or whenever you're watching this. But before we get into the haul, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Dossier. Y'all know how much I love Dossier. The cutest packaging in the world. Dossier has iconic scents with designer quality and no markups. That is right. You can get a phenomenal designer fragrance for literally, I want to say a quarter of the price, but I think it's even less. And Dossier designs scents that are based on your favorite designer perfumes. You walk into Sephora wanting a luxury fragrance and it's just a little too steep, or at least it is for me. And Dossier, they have the perfect solution to that. This is their Ambery Cherry, which was inspired by Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. I recently gave this one to my mom and she is obsessed with it. It smells exactly like the Tom Ford, but for a fraction of the price. I always get so many compliments when I wear Dossier. It lasts so long on my skin. And the woody sandalwood one that smells like the Santal 33, I've literally had people, bartenders, Uber drivers, people out in the world ask me, who's wearing Santal? Are you? Is it you? And I'm like, yeah, totally. Little do they know that it's the exact same scent for a fraction of the price. And now Dossier has a collection of Dossier Originals. They are unique blends that smell amazing. I was wondering when they would come out with some signature scents, and I am so glad they did. This is my favorite one. It is caramelized lavender and hazelnut. Oh my gosh, it smells like a nighttime in spring. I'm sitting on a patio, sipping a glass of Chardonnay, and it's my entire dream. I love it so much. So check out the Dossier Originals and also some of your favorite luxury scents reimagined down below at my link. And don't forget to use my code to get some money off. I will put that on the screen right now, and it will also be down below in the description box. Thank you so much to Dossier for sponsoring this video. Now let's go ahead and get into the book haul. I'm going to start with the reason that this book haul happened, which is all of the Fear Street books that I have been after. I've been scrounging these little puppies up anywhere that I can find them, and every single one in this stack is a first edition, and most are first printings. So let's go ahead and just jump in. First up, we have Cheerleaders, The Second Evil. This cover is so iconic, so camp to me. All these reads are just so nostalgic, and if you don't know what Fear Street is, it's the YA series by R.L. Stine, kind of like the older version of Goosebumps. And as a child, I was addicted, so I cannot wait to dive back into them all. I've already read quite a few that I've picked up, but my collection is growing. I cannot wait to display them back here. And one of the little offshoot series of Fear Street books is the Cheerleader series. So I have The Second Evil, and I'm looking for the rest. Then I have Bad Dreams. And this is about a recurring nightmare. It's kind of giving me like Freddy Krueger vibes. I also have one of the other Cheerleaders books. This is Cheerleaders, The New Evil. And I believe that I'm missing the first Evil and like Evil's Back or Evil Rise or something like that. Like, it's just so camp and so ridiculous. I love it. This one also looks Christmassy, like not a slasher Santa. I'm dying. Next up, I have a super chiller, which basically just means it's a longer book. And this one is called Party Summer. It's about a slasher on the beach. which is going to be perfect for the upcoming summer months. I have The Knife, which is one of the first Fear Street books. And this is about uncovering the shady secrets at the local hospital. I have The Stepsister 2, which is about a horrifying stepsister story. You can see her back here. It's kind of giving The Twin by Natasha Preston, so I'm a little scared, but again, this is another popular series, so I'm trying to collect them all. Well, I'm trying to collect all the Fear Streets, but you know what I mean. Also, quite a few of these were sent to me by a lovely subscriber, so thank you guys so much if you're one of the people who sent these over. I really appreciate you. I'm so happy that my collection is growing. I have like a whole spreadsheet tracking which ones I have and which ones I don't, and every time I go hunting for more, it's like a little adventure. So thank you for helping me out with that. Next up, I have The Secret Bedroom. And this is about a creepy old house that this little teen girl just moved into here. And there's been a room that's been locked since they moved in. Well, she's about to unlock it and discover the harrowing secrets inside. Next up, I have a Ghosts of Fear Street book. This is kind of like an offshoot series. Very happy to find a first edition, first printing of anything in this series. I feel like they're a lot harder to come by than the regular Fear Street books. And this one is called The Ooze. I'm obsessed with this cover. The neon colors, the like zombified cat. Yeah, I'm living. I have The Dead Lifeguard, which is again another one of the first ever Fear Street books. And one by one, the lifeguards around the beach start turning up dead. I have The Thrill Club, and this is giving very much Mary Shelley Club vibes. This group of teens that are kind of misfits have a club, and they conjure up some evil they didn't expect. I have College Weekend, which you could probably guess what that's about. A girl who goes on a college weekend to visit her boyfriend, and creepy things start going on. I have Broken Hearts, which is a stalker story on Valentine's Day. This is another one of these super chillers. I have the original The Stepsister, so I have the first two in this little offshoot series. I have Final Grade, which this one is just one of those campy ones that I'm so excited for. It's about an intensely competitive girl who's trying to get valedictorian, and she's accused of murder for the valedictorian spot at like Shady Side High. I'm dying. I also have one of the books in another offshoot series, the Cataluna Chronicles, which is giving like very much witchy Halloween Town vibes. This one is called The Dark Secret, and it's kind of giving like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, where the secret is traveling around and everyone who knows the secret, something bad happens to them. So it's kind of like The Ring, The Chain, something of that sort. And the last vintage paperback that I have for this haul is The Babysitter 4. And this one is not a Fear Street book, but it is a first edition, first printing of an R.L. Stine paperback. So I'm going to try to find the rest of this series as well. All right, I've gotten the next stack of books here. Oh my God, they're sitting very precariously. Next up, we have more Fear Street, but this is not vintage. This is the new bind up that just came out with the first 3 Fear Street books that ever came out. So it's called Fear Street The Beginning. It came out to kind of promote the Netflix movies, which are phenomenal, by the way. I love them. And in here are, oh, I guess it's the first 4 books. The New Girl, The Surprise Party, The Overnight, and Missing. And the rest of the books in this haul are just going to be random pickups that I found along the way, starting with The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston? Poston? I don't know. This font is like very difficult to read, but I've heard so much hype about this. This is like a paranormal romance, which normally would not be my thing, but it's about a woman who is a romance author, and she is, I believe, grieving her father. He passed away. And when she goes to the funeral, she sees the ghost of a former lover there, and they start a romance. Confused, but people love it. People sob over this. Next up, we have The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig, and this is a horror novel, and it was on so many horror booktubers best of the year list, so it was definitely on my radar to pick up if I ran into it. So when I saw this copy at Half Price Books, I was so excited. I really don't know what it's about. It's a long synopsis, but I'm excited to get into it. I have Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This was a random Barnes & Noble pickup. It's beautiful. It has deckled edges, and I've actually already read a couple of the stories in here, and they're so weird. I'm obsessed. It is just a little horror story collection. I believe it's a translated work, and I'm obsessed. Next up, I have a random short novella that I've never heard any singular person talk about, but it was in the Half Price Books clearance section, and I couldn't pass it up because, first of all, I just love this cover so much, but the synopsis also sounded right up my alley, and we know the random Half Price Books novellas have been popping off. Quite a few were on my best books of the year for 2022, so we will see if this one makes it on the list for 2023. It's called How Strange It Is to Be Anything at All, and it's by Joe Riley. So this is not just a novella. This is a collection of shorter stories, and it really doesn't say much about what this is about. It just says that his story's contemporary resonance makes one think of Junot Diaz, and one senses that Mr. Riley may indeed become an important voice in the up-and-coming generation at, or as he characterizes it, the generation of lost found and lost again. So I guess this is a really young up-and-coming author. We'll see. Next up, I have Do No Harm, which I also found in the clearance section of Half Price Books. And y'all, the books in there are only $1 or $2. I'm shook that this like totally good to go paperback thriller was in there. And this is one by Kirsten McDonald that a lot of people were talking about, but I kind of had some hesitancy around. It's kind of like a Breaking Bad situation. I don't know. It's about a mother who is like forced into the drug trade to support her children. And I usually don't like drug content, but I saw a review of this that really made me want to pick it up. So when I saw it, I did not pass it up. Next up, we have a random Target pickup, and that is The Maid. Something about this in paperback, I saw it and I was like, oh my God, like this is just so adorable. And I know Sav from Riveting Reads really likes this book. I don't know why her review just like stands out to me. It's supposed to be like a funny, quirky murder mystery story, but it's not just like a boring ass cozy mystery. Like there are allegedly really good twists in here about a maid who either is accused of murder, witnesses a murder, something like that. Oh yeah, her life is upended the day that she finds a wealthy man dead in his bed. Next up, I have Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the second in the adult romance, not necessarily series because you can read them out of order, but like companion novels by Ashley Herring Blake. The first one is Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and they are all sapphic novels. And this one is giving like sapphic tools of engagement by Tessa Bailey, because it is two women who are fixing up a house together. And it's kind of like a enemies to lovers situation. So cute. I have another one from the clearance section. I honestly think most of these books are Half Price Books clearance pickups. And this is Watch Me Disappear by Janelle Brown. I love the cover. How it does that is so cool. And this is giving like Where Did You Go, Bernadette, Gone Girl, all those like classic plots, but I have not read this one yet. And historically, I've either given Janelle Brown 2 stars or 4 stars. I think I've read 3 of her books, and one has been a 2-star and the other 2 have been 4 stars. So we will see where this one lands. I'm working my way through her backlist so I can do another ranking video for y'all. I also have Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. I am so happy to have this book. It is the next book in the Dark Olympus series, which is a fantasy romance series that I've been eagerly awaiting each release of. Neon Gods, the first book in the series, is my absolute favorite 5-star, one of my most fun and surprising reads of last year. Highly recommend it. They are super smutty fantasy romance books with like Greek goddess themes. And this one is following Cassandra and Apollo. Next up, I have a little grouping of books that all go together. This is a Tessa Bailey series that just started coming out this year. And I read the first book, which I have thoughts about. That is Too Hot to Handle. And then I have the rest of the books in the series here. Too Wild to Tame, Too Beautiful to Break, and Too Hard to Forget. And there's also one more that I need to go find. But these all follow siblings in this quirky, rich family whose their mother, like the matriarch of the family, was this celebrity chef, and she passes away. So in the first book, they're all like reeling and they go on this big road trip, which was like their mother's dying wish. So each sibling has a romance that they get to have on this road trip. I loved the first book, so I cannot wait to get to the rest of the 3 siblings. And then there's another companion novella that I gotta get as well. And staying with the romance theme, this was just a random Amazon order from myself because I wanted it. I have no other excuse. But that is Loathe to Love You by Ali Hazelwood, the bind up of the STEMinist novellas all in one. I already read the first one and I really did not love it, but we will see what I think about the other 2. Next up, I have A Slice of Cherry. This is another one that I ordered on Amazon because once I heard someone recommend this in a video, I ran to go get it. It is a slasher novel about 2 little girls who have just a murderous streak in them. I believe they're twins or they're sisters. They are the oddest and most dangerous creatures around, and they start to give into their desire to kill. They are the daughters of a infamous serial killer, and they're like continuing his legacy, and they figure out how their dad like fucked up and got caught, and they use these like speculative elements, a mysterious and invisible doorway to another world to evade capture. So it's creepy children, serial killer POV, and speculative elements. Like, this literally sounds like my perfect book. I am so excited to read it. Another half-price clearance find, we have The Husbands by Chandler Baker, and I've been wanting to read this one for so long. It's been on my radar. I just haven't had it readily available, so it keeps slipping my mind. But this is basically about a world that is super idyllic, like this little perfect suburban neighborhood, but the husbands are like the people who take care of the kids, stay home, have chats with their besties after like car line pickup with a bottle of wine. Like, basically, if the roles were switched, kind of a similar situation, but not as dark as Any Man by Amber Tamblyn. And I loved that book last month, so I'm excited to see another take on that concept. Next up, I have Nice Girls by Catherine Dang, and this is a new release. I hadn't heard anyone talk about it, but I saw it in the thriller section of Barnes & Noble and could not pass it up once I read the synopsis. It is a missing girl thriller, and I guess another girl is framed for whatever crime took place. It involves social media. One of the girls is an Instagram influencer. It's just about catty girl drama, manipulative girls with sharp edges. Are they really nice girls? Da 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 da. Carefully crafted facades around 2 missing girls, old wounds that bleed fresh and force them to confront horrible truths. Maybe there are no nice girls after all. Like, are you kidding? That sounds amazing. On that same Barnes & Noble's trip, I picked up 13 Stories by Jonathan Sims from the horror section. And I don't know how I have not picked this up until now. Like, just listen to the synopsis. I'm going to read it verbatim. A dinner party is held in the penthouse of a multi-million-pound development. All the guests are strangers, even to their host, the billionaire owner of the building. None of them know why they were selected to receive the invitation. They only share one thing in common. They've all experienced a shocking experience within the building. And by the end of the night, their host is dead and none of the guests will say what happened. His death has remained one of the biggest unsolved mysteries until now. But are you ready for their stories? Tell me why this is giving Truth or Dare, that like weird Netflix movie, horror movie. I'm obsessed with that movie. And if this is like a novelized version of it, I'm gonna be living. Another little random Amazon order. This is Virgin Night by Christopher Robertson. I absolutely loved The Cotton Candy Massacre by him, so I had to pick up another one. I love this indie horror so much. You'll know that is like my lifeblood. And this one is a 90s teen slasher. Are you kidding? That sounds perfect for me. In the picturesque town of Cherry Lake, the kids are not all right. Neither is the centuries-old undead slasher that haunts the town. or the all-powerful megachurch which designs the future. On February 13th, 1998, Virgin Night, these will collide and the town of Cherry Lake will never be the same again. The next one y'all are gonna be so mad at me for, but you can probably already predict what it is, and that is The Island by Natasha Preston. Listen, I could not resist. This is my queen, my problematic queen who does not know how to end a book. This is her new release about a bunch of influencers who go to this carnival island to do like promo for it, like a Six Flags island for the elite, and they all start dying one by one. Is this going to be the most unsatisfying ending of all time? Yes. Am I still going to read it? Yes. Next up, I have 2 books by Shanora Williams. I'm super excited to get into her backlist. She is a thriller author that I haven't heard much about on the internet, but I have The Wife Before, which is a bitch I'm gonna steal your life story. And I talked about this one. It is on my TBR for this month. And then I also picked up her other one, The Perfect Ruin, which is more of a beachy thriller vibe. And it's another domestic thriller, rich people drama. I'm so ready. I also mentioned in a vlog recently that I picked up My Darkest Prayer by S.A. Cosby. So excited to get into this. I love Razor Blade Tears, and I have Blacktop Wasteland on my TBR for this month as well. And this is about a guy who runs a funeral parlor, and he is solving a mystery because he gets a suspicious body in the funeral parlor. That sounds so good. And it also sounds like it's going to break down small town corruption, religious trauma, dark secrets. Yeah, give it to me. I also picked up Drama Free. This is a non-fiction book that I'm reading to see if I want to recommend it to some of my clients. It's by Dr. Nidra. I love her so much on Instagram and on TikTok. She makes some amazing mental health content. And this is her book about managing unhealthy family relationships. A lot of the clients that I see are involved in very toxic family dynamics, and we figure out how to navigate the developmental trauma that they carry from that. So I'm just going to use this to inform my practice and recommend it to them if I end up liking it. And of course, if I do, I will recommend it to y'all as well. I know y'all like little mental health nuggets here and there. Next up, I have another new release thriller that I literally haven't heard anyone talk about, but I saw it in Barnes & Noble and had to get it. It's called Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton. And this is about a Black woman who is trapped in an abusive relationship, but she's like, today is the day, I'm getting out. And as she is making her escape, a white woman taps on her window and is like, hey, I'm in a similar situation. You have to help me escape too. So these 2 women from very similar but very different backgrounds are on this journey together to escape their scary relationships. Oh my gosh, sounds so fast paced. Even just the cover, like it's giving action. It's giving car chase. I am so ready for this. Next up, I have Killjoy by Holly Jackson, and this is the little novella that goes with the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I absolutely love that series, and this is just like a short version of one of those books. I can't wait to get into it. I am not ready to say goodbye to Miss Pip. I love her. I also have Eric LaRocca's new short story collection. I'm so excited to get into this one. It's called The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, and look at this cover. It's also signed. Thank you so much to Eric for sending this over. I'm gonna scream. I love it so much. So y'all will definitely be hearing a review of this ASAP because y'all know when I get sent another one from my king, I cannot put it off for a month. It's gonna be read immediately. I also picked up Nana by Brandon Massey, and I heard about this one from Gabby Reads. Love Gabby, always trust her thriller and horror opinions. So this one is following a woman who never knew her birth mother. She was raised by a strict and loving adoptive parent, but she wonders about her origins. Until this woman shows up on her doorstep and is like, hey, I am your birth mom. Let me be a part of your household, be a part of your life. So she's cooking their meals, looking after their kids, and tending to Monica when she falls ill. Meanwhile, Grace, this mysterious woman who has shown up, is looking better and better, the sicker her alleged daughter gets. The truth, though, is beyond their wildest imaginings. It seems Grace has done this before. So it seems like she's some mysterious con woman, and I think that sounds amazing. Next up, I have a boring psychology book that probably none of y'all will want to read, but it's called In an Unspoken Voice, and it's by Peter Levine. I love Peter Levine. I base all of my therapeutic style off of him. I'm currently getting my SEP, which is a practitioner certification for somatic therapy, and that is what he invented, basically. So I'm going to read all about it in this book and hopefully help my clients even more and learn about what I love to do, and none of y'all care about this, so moving on. We are finally on to my last stack here, so not too much to go. Starting with Meet You in the Middle by Devin. I cannot see because of this half price book's clearance tag. Let me try to get it off. By Devin Daniels, and this just sounds like an absolute train wreck. It's a romance, hate to love, about two people in the political arena. One is a liberal queen and one is a nasty ass conservative man. This just sounds like entertaining garbage, and it's probably gonna be a rant vlog, we'll see. I have The Family Bones by Elle Mar, which was kindly sent to me by the publisher. Thank you so much. And this is a thriller, new release thriller that's about to come out or has just come out. It's about this family, and this psychology student is trying to unravel kind of the effects of what's gone on in her family. Apparently they're like a long line of psychopaths. Like, people in her family just go wild. People die around them. So she's trying to figure out, is this nature? Is this nurture? What's going on? And they have a family reunion weekend where things just pop off. I am so excited to get to this one. I haven't heard many people talk about it. I'll give you the tea. Next up, I have Mile High by Liz Tomford, and this was kindly sent to me by Dawn, one of my patrons and one of my favorite people who's been around for so long. She always sends me the most iconic books. She sent me Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, which started my whole Jennifer Hillier obsession. So very excited to read this romance that she sent over, although it is a chunk. So Dawn, I'm really giving you my full trust in this one. Another one that was sent to me was Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun. This is the third Finlay Donovan book, and it was sent by Aspen. I love Aspen so much. She's been sprinting with me a ton on my Patreon, and she has a channel. If you are a horror, thriller, extreme horror girly, you have got to go subscribe to her, so I will link her down below. Thank you so much, Aspen, for sending this over. I can't wait to continue the series. Next up, I have The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, another one that is on my TBR for this month. And it's following the mysterious alleged jump, or was it a push, off a cliff that this man witnessed, and we're following his wife as she tries to uncover the truth. This is my Patreon book club pick, so if you're reading it this month and you want to discuss with us at the end of the month, as always, I have my Patreon linked down below. Also, in my Book of the Month box this month, I got Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler, which is a debut romance, and The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. This is the new Megan Miranda. It sounds really fast-paced, which she needs after last year's Last to Vanish. That was so boring and horrifying. So this year, she came out with one that the blurb says 7 hours in the past, 7 days in the present, 7 survivors remaining. Who would you save? A decade ago, 2 vans filled with high school seniors crashed into a ravine, a tragedy that claimed multiple lives, and the 9 students who managed to escape were irrevocably changed.
Holy shit, can I fucking talk?
A year later, after one of the survivors dies by suicide, they come together to commemorate the terrible night, to keep one each other safe and accountable, or both. So we will see. We will give the tea on the Megan Miranda books, as I always do every year, no matter how painful it is. I also ended up picking up the Taylor Jenkins Reid from last year, Carrie Soto is Back, because I heard some very mixed reviews about this book. A lot of Latinx reviewers were saying that some problematic elements were in this book, but then a lot of my Latinx friends who are readers say that they didn't have a problem with it. So I'm very caught in the middle. Obviously, I don't have an opinion because I am white, but I want to read it and see what all the hype is about, especially because I just watched the Daisy Jones show and I'm obsessed, sobbing, crying, screaming, throwing up, and I need more TJR in my life. And the last few books that I have are just the book of the month and add-ons that I've gotten the past few months. And we are starting out with Wayward by Amelia Hart. This is a weird horror women's fiction kind of book about witches. We have The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and this is an isolated, snowy thriller. We have The Most Likely Club by Alyssa Friedland, and this is a contemporary about a quirky friend group who comes together to kind of check up on their high school superlatives. It sounds super like Breakfast Club vibes. I love it. And lastly, we have Georgie All the Way by Kate Claiborne. And this is a grumpy sunshine romance, new release from, I believe she was the author of Love Lettering, which I loved. So with that is my massive book haul. Comment down below and tell me if there are any that I really need to prioritize. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Dossier down below. Thank you again to Dossier for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And go read a book and go to therapy this week. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!